Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Refresh Point YouTube channel. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Steve. Steve, how's it going?
We're doing great.
And this is our recorded coverage of the BCS Weiß Schwarz Regional at Duluth, Georgia, where we have, in this video, we'll be going over the top 8 game that we recorded. It's going to be in between Alexander 9104 playing 8 Treasure Bang Dream versus Mochi Mano playing 8 Standby hololive. So Steve, walk me through it. If you saw our top 16 coverage, you already saw a little bit of what Mochi Mano was putting down. So instead, let's talk about the Bang Dream player, Alexander 9104. We've got 8 Treasure. Now I hear that everybody's, in a fuss about Dolores, but this isn't Dolores. What are we looking at?
So what we're seeing is everybody is experimenting with the finishers for Bang Dream to see which ones feel the best. And the layer finisher is what we would call a reasonable finisher. It doesn't allow you to play events during the card's battle, searches for music characters on placement, and then discards 2 on climax to burn 2, and then look at the top of your opponent's deck, and then either put it on top or bottom. So what this does is we get reasonable packets that are guaranteed, and we get some self-setting where we can search for additional copies of itself or whatever other pieces we need.
And now with that additional consistency, Alexander 9104 has decided to only run 3 of that layer finisher, as well as, some off finishing here. There's a 3-2 Anon, which is popular, that can get a climax from the waiting room. There is an Oblivionus from, I believe
that's the trial deck Oblivionus. It's Encore State, pay 2, burn 2. So we get to modulate our expenses in the late game, decide whether we can kill with it or not. We also have access to the classic stock swap using You Can Do It bread, and the 3-2 Orisa from the very first Bang Dream set that will make your opponent choose one of their climaxes and hold out of their deck and then reshuffle the deck. So
Steve, I thought you've been playing this game for a long time. Isn't it Buns for Luck?
It is Buns for Luck and You Can Do It bread. But in this case, yes. I believe it is Buns for Luck.
It is Buns for Luck. The one stock swap event of everybody's nightmares, unless you're playing Bang Dream, in which it's your dream.
Right. So we get to see the standard Iroha opening for Mochi Mano. He also has the Muna on stage, which is additional hand fixing.
Yeah, it's a really good brainstorm here. It lets you discard at the beginning of the climax phase on climax play for a salvage. Basically, look at the top, check the level, salvage equal to that level from your waiting room. Also, we have found, I believe this is the only other recorded instance of the Iroha missing in this whole tournament.
Right. So we've seen it miss quite a bit, which is...
We've seen it miss twice. It actually hit every other time in the top 16 after it whiffed the first time, I believe. Right. But also, now it did whiff again, which is unfortunate for Mochi Mano. Taking some early damage here as well. Talk me through. We triggered a standby. I believe we had to play a standby. Where is Mochi Mano now? Where is he going? What is he doing?
So it looks like he feels happy with what he has for level 0. So I take it back. If his hand is good for level 0, then we're going to see a search for either the Louis or the Aqua to try and start picking up the pieces for level 1. So we've seen Aqua here. He probably wants to avoid causing any more damage to himself by getting awkward triggers. So in both games, we're seeing Mochi fall slightly behind in the early game, but I mentioned in the top 16 game, but yes, it's worth mentioning that standby decks generally don't mind being a little bit behind on damage.
Yeah, and on the other side, good old Bang Dream, nothing beats that. where is Alexander 9104 going? All right.
So we have
lay it on me. What's the early game again? Remind me.
Right. So we have Mocha that is going to do the search, and he's going to. So we get the exact state we want here. We're going to use the Mocha to search for the level 1 combo, or perhaps the level 1 changer, now that we see the level 1 combo in the clock. And that's going to allow Bang Dream to fast track removing this deck 1 and getting us straight to deck 2.
Yeah. Not for nothing, it's still pretty early in deck 1. I'm not sure if you get like the full setup, right? All the changers, brainstorms, double, triple combo, I'd feel pretty confident that you can go through the whole deck 1. I'm just not sure that's here, that's what's happening.
It's hard to say at this point. We do see that we're going to level 1. I think we have
it's an awkward level green here, having to level the early play healer. This is one of the best cards in the deck, only run as a 3 of in the list as well, where 4 or more early play condition, also 4 or more heal to stock instead of waiting room. And kind of in most Bang Dream games that you see out in the wild, even at this BCS and many others, you want to play that a lot. I cannot stress enough that healing is good, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's okay here. It is awkward. But I think it's okay because usually they don't have trouble accessing the card. That's getting card access is usually not a difficult thing for Bang Dream. And more importantly, our other clock choices were pretty miserable.
Yeah. I mean, it was the best of the worst in that it was the 1 combo, the 3 combo. I believe I saw the TD Oblivionis in there, and the healer. So, yeah, take your pick.
Right. So he's leaving some options open. We're going to Yukina, which is the more standard pay 1, clock 1 from the top, search for level 1 or lower, and we're getting the Brainstorm. So rest of the hand must feel pretty good. Alexander has no stock, so the Brainstorm ostensibly is only coming on board to facilitate its on climax playability.
Yeah. Better player than I am. Does have the 1 of here, has the 1 of Rui for a draw discard. It's going to discard the Mocha here. And I'm not sure what's in Alexander's hand. Our omniscience in this game is not as good as it is perhaps in some of the other recordings, but it looks like a lot of deck. So I'm not confident that without fielding a lot of combo, you're going to get through all of it. And not for nothing, in an earlier peak, we saw, I believe, 2 climaxes in Alexander 9104's hand, and we've already done a little bit of blocking and a little bit of, going through the deck. It's an awkward deck state. Yeah, 2 climaxes in the waiting room here for Alexander 9104. I believe there are 2 in hand. This is a weird 4 climax deck state. How much do you want to mill here?
In an ideal world, we want to clear this thing, but it does seem to be, based on his previous approximations, we're probably looking at 30 cards here. And without triple combo plus some of the changers, that's just not going to happen.
And actually, it was 3 treasures in the waiting room. So, ends up grabbing another copy of the Brainstormer.
So I think this informs us that he believes he cannot clear the whole deck.
Yeah.
We reveal.
Ouch. Instant reveal. No hesitation. Mill 6.
Right.
But it doesn't clear the whole deck.
No.
Kind of what's the goal there?
I think
just get to the next deck as soon as possible, I suppose.
So we're gonna see, it looks like 2 combos from Alexander here. This is a difficult situation because checking 4 with a climax combo, if you've been playing Weiß Schwarz for any period of time, you will know that when you check 4 for you want to just do a respectful check 4, maybe look at a card, see what it is, you immediately can cause yourself some problems by revealing climaxes. So we're going to get a treasure on the first attack here, which is automatically problematic.
Yeah, already, lack of knowledge here on the very bottom of the stock. And at this point, it really is kind of rough feeling. You feel like that you want to build because my gods, how many more climaxes could I reveal? There's only 2-3 left, right?
Right. Unfortunately,
the odds are in my favor. Let's just go through it all, get some more cards, and hopefully not trigger another one.
So there's a timing thing in play here that I'm gonna disagree with how this was executed. It ended up working out either way, but I don't prefer using the Brainstorm's check ability on my last attacker. I think I prefer to use it on my first attacker to prevent myself from blind stocking cards very deep into my stock that I can probably not recover very easily.
Yeah, and not for nothing now, Alex is kind of open to with a combination of some bad luck and some pretty heavy milling, where we've seen I think every climax leave the deck.
Right.
Or all except for one.
Right. Usually, this is a pro tip if you're going to play competitive Weiß Schwarz. When you see your opponent shuffling their stock or shuffling their waiting room like he's doing right now, that's a telltale sign that there are no more climaxes, or they believe that there are no more climaxes, because
oh no,
you kind of tipping your hand there. But
no, it's just fidgeting. It's just fidgeting, Steve,
right. We do know there are 2 treasures in hand.
That's true.
And so Mochi is
got really the one block to keep the game stable. We're chilling at 1-2.
He's gonna brainstorm and hit here.
Hits the brainstorm.
He attacked with his brainstormer on the previous turn, which is also another dead giveaway that you're holding a brainstorm, is that you're more than willing to push one to the center stage and let it go. We're gonna see what Mochi wants to go with. He's kind of in the driver's seat at this point. They're even on damage, but that evenness is kind of fake because Alexander is open to taking what appears to be 4 clean damage.
Yeah, and 4 clean damage. Come on, Mochi with Mano. He's got 28 soul triggers in the deck. It could very well be 5, could very well be 6 on a good day. And the Wado Louis that's already on the board that can keep digging for another soul trigger. The Polka that's hit the board can dig for another soul trigger. And as it turns out, Steven, I'm not sure if you know, but the 2/2 Choco that's about to hit the board has 2 base soul.
Right. So we're seeing the Choco combo resolve. Now Mochi is trying to clean up his own deck state and take control of the board, which is what standby decks love to do.
Yeah. And it's not commanding control. These are not the 10-5, 10k hand encore 2/2s of your hitting the board. This Choco is here to ensure the life of Louis. Effectively.
We see the Muna resolving and adding the rest counter to hand.
Did Alex just take 3 damage?
He did. So
from the level 0 Miko that swaying and triggered 1 soul. Huh. He definitely swang the Miko in the middle first. And there isn't another soul up mechanic. Polka doesn't give soul, right? No. So did Alex just take 3 damage for fun? He did take 3 damage, right? Like that happened?
It did. I'm unsure.
And then now Mochi Mano is swinging to Alexander 9104 with the Choco, which was second.
Yes.
Okay. So
not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Ouch. Gonna be a climax penalty and take the actual definitely 3 damage here.
Yeah, so that looks like a mistake that was made.
I mean, one extra damage is one extra damage, right?
So we're seeing
it would have changed the deck out timing a little bit. But yeah, here we see the Louis throwing away the climax, letting Mochi with Mano refresh with it.
Now we're seeing the exacerbation of some bad situations where we're getting the double treasure trigger into the treasure penalty. So
hits on the brainstorm. We're already back to 4 climaxes in the deck for Alexander 9104, and that's a little tricky. Cannot stress enough that Alexander is rapidly running out of resources and time.
I'm curious. So we know that we have treasures available. It's a question of how you want to approach it, because we're being asked the exact same question again, where do we have complete milling? Do we have incomplete milling? How much milling do we want to do? So they're counting to see what that math looks like, and again, it's not good. There's too much deck. Can't clear the whole thing.
It's actually, yeah, literally the exact same kind of tricky deck state that we saw one turn ago. And I mean, and if you get into the same scenario again, now you're 2 levels behind, optimistically 1 level behind.
So we know that we have to swap because both of the treasure triggers from the previous turn were the level 3. So the swap is happening, and now we're going to see a recombo for level 1, which is, again, a bit spooky. He did not mill 3 off of the changer.
Maybe decided that the math this go around was better with only the 1 combo swings.
So maybe there's like a respectful milling that we want to try and do this turn. The changer can get over Choco.
Yeah.
Or at least go even with it.
Yeah, but it's kind of debating, do you want to beat over the Choco guaranteed, or do you want to beat over the Louis that is trying to be protected by the Choco in this scenario?
I think luckily we can get both, because we can get stock with the other Oblivianis to go to 8K.
The problem is, I don't know that you can get stock, Steve. The problem is that Alexander 9104 has no money. There is no stock, but also no hand. I think he has 3 hand.
So we're looking at around 18 cards to look at with 2 mil 4s. So
and like a top check.
We've once again walked ourselves into the same scenario twice, where we can't fully mill the deck. So we're going to have to play that game where you take the best card you see and hope it's not that bad.
Yeah,
so
and
he
first attack with the non-check attack again as well.
No, I think that one had the check.
No, I think he was waiting on something to reveal the trigger.
Got it.
He didn't look.
Understood. Okay.
And now it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's
so this
is every Bang Dream player's nightmare.
Yes, this is the standard Bang Dream nightmare. You want to mill respectfully. You want to just take the first card available. Climax, event, climax. And you're just like,
well, it was a character at the end.
Right. It's just so horrid. This is the unfortunate part about having these type of advantage engines, is that these types of things can happen to you, and this is what is happening, and it's very bad.
Yeah, Mochi with Mano here, having blocks left in the deck to give. Unfortunate that it's on the last card of deck. It won't go back, but realistically, the 1 block by itself, like, really just keeps the game in just a very zen state for Mochi with Mano.
It's amazing that this 3/5 Miko is going to live
twice, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that there's high power zeros do have value. Having power is a real thing that is useful.
Yeah.
So
we finally get
Alexander is going to go to stock with the Choco now that it wasn't used to save Louis, so that he can tie.
Yeah. And So now we're
checking to the trigger, and then we get a
my
cancel.
goodness. Double block here for Mochi what Mano. On this turn, I mean,
So
this is the death spiral. It's about to happen.
So
unless Alexander 9104 is one of the luckiest people on this planet.
So we're gonna go ahead and level up here in all likelihood, and I believe he has standby in hand. So we're gonna start seeing the terror standby targets start to come onto the board.
We're seeing Luna onto the board. Miko perhaps for an assist. An extra Choco for perhaps just for fun. The Kanata 2-1 referred to as a dancer. It can move between different slots on the stage at the beginning of the opponent's attack step. Not super useful, or potentially not super useful, because Bang Dream does have the level 0 red Immortus that can freeze a character on play. However, Alexander 9104 is running 3 of them. He did stock one of them. There's 2 left available, and Mochi what Mano is kind of making the gamble here, like, have it. If you have it, you have it.
I think also we're reaching that point in the game where Alexander's going to have to start figuring out how he's going to get the remaining pieces that he needs to win the game. We know he has the treasure climax for the level 3 in hand. It's just a question
it's a question of how well can you navigate one extra turn. Mochi what Mano is at 2-0.
Right. So Mochi what Mano did what Alexander wanted to do. He resolved a check 4 and took the very first card because it was pretty okay. And in an ideal world, when you're checking 4 cards, that's what you want, is you look at the first card and it's pretty okay, so you just put it in your hand, you don't think too much. And then we're going to go ahead and resolve the Muna as well.
Because, hear me out, with the Polka, you got to scout the top, see that it was a good level, keep it right there, salvage some cool cards.
Right.
And so now Luna in the back, Dancer Kanata in the front, and a whole boatload of damage lined up for Alexander 9104. I cannot imagine that there is more than 2 climaxes, if any, in his deck. It does not seem likely. It seems really bad, actually. And even if Alexander gets an expected 1 block, Mochi what Mano has a swing into an empty lane that's minimum 2. We have a soul trigger on top for this Miko that's lived for so long. And it like, even blocking once doesn't save you. You're going to go to level 3.
The worst part about being behind to a standby deck...
Here's the 1 block. 2 blocks and maybe we can stabilize. No. Okay, nice. We got 1 block, and Mochi what Mano did not get another soul trigger. Really good.
The worst part about being behind to a standby deck is that the small damage that normally you are fine with becomes the small damage that you never block that slowly chews you to pieces.
Yeah, I mean, in this scenario, though, Alexander 9104 desperately needs to keep this game on rails, realistically, right? Going straight to 3 just starts the spiral. The staircase to level 4 is being made brick by brick, and Alexander 9104 has decided that we're just gonna keep going for it. Level 3 is where he wants to be, and we're gonna have to try to stabilize here or not at all.
So that's a good sign that he wasn't holding the healer, because he paid 3 to keep the 1-0 on the stage. So that leads me to believe that we're going to probably just play a turn of non-finishers here and try to live and finish on the following turn when it's more possible.
Yeah. Hope you stay alive. Really hope you stay alive. And it really ought to be possible for Alexander to not hit level 4 on the next turn. We have now, with that clock, see, the clock with the treasure climax puts it back into the deck. You do lose the compression that was there and the kind of life that was there to potentially heal off, but at least you have, I believe it has to be 6 to 7 climaxes back into this deck, right? So now we just get to navigate. We need to have cards in our hand. We see one climax go away. Unlucky, but I guess it's okay. We need cards to play. We have the Immortus to freeze the Kanata, or the Luda, actually, realistically, right? So that 3/2, that little pink-haired demon can stay in the back row for Mochi what Mano.
Right, and that was a essential sequence to keeping the game sort of stable. What we'd like to see here is an early play heal.
Yeah, and it's going to be a one stock. Ow, 2 climaxes, no early play heals.
So, as you mentioned earlier, when he leveled it, we are now seeing the consequence of having to level that, which is we're struggling to locate another one.
Yeah, none of the one combos were able to reveal it. There's the horror show reveal on that first one on the previous turn, where it was 2 climaxes, one's for luck, and a Yukina that went straight to the stock. Now we've brainstormed, we've got nothing, we're coming up tails, and there's not even that much great compression here for Alexander 9104. He's had to spend down stock brainstorming, resolving like drop surge, other effects every single turn. He doesn't have that great compression. I have a bad feeling, Steve.
I agree, and by not adding another Oblivionus combo, I think we're tipping our hand a little bit about the nature of this turn, which is that we are not comboing. And because we are not comboing, that's going to leave us pretty stock poor for what is ostensibly going to be our finishing turn next turn.
But I guess to some degree, there's nothing left. No healing. And Alexander 9104 is crashing one of the lanes. Yeah, so he can beat over the Choco level 0 drop salvage that's on the side. Kind of the right slot.
We're getting
here.
the wrong combo.
Oh, yeah, that's...
So that means both... It is likely he is holding another treasure climax in hand for his finisher. And then as insult to injury, there goes the healer. And also, we're going to have to figure out how to navigate. Okay, so we have to resolve another treasure.
Wait, is that right?
So it must mean he
because he doesn't have another
He
treasure.
must not have it. So he wanted the slam for the pace and for the trigger checking.
Yeah, because it lets you have the trigger checking for the Immortus to try to add decent cards to your hand, but yeah, and that double block there for Mochi what Mano, this could have very easily been maybe okay, right?
Much more navigable if you land 2 hits there. Landing 1 hit there is tough.
1 hit for 2 is super tough.
Now, the only upside here is that Mochi what Mano can't heal from this position.
Yeah, doesn't have 2 or less, doesn't run the 4 or more early play Suisse healer, so cannot resolve the IMA early play healer. But honestly, how much does Mochi what Mano care? Man?
It would be nice, but also it's certainly not required.
Yeah, he's at 2/2. Doesn't have that much stock in any case. He has, he has been brainstorming. He had to hard play the Kanata Dancer.
Yeah,
but, I mean, still, yeah.
Yeah, he's not compressing very much because he is using his stock resources to manage his deck state. He's frequently using the Polka, frequently has been brainstorming. So, and yes, had to
but it's tended to be in less horrifying positions than Alexander 9104.
True.
Where a lot of the time and it's due somewhat to kind of the trigger luck and the milling luck, but Mochi what Mano did not have that much milling.
His deck in general doesn't have that much, so it's more important for him to kind of
get into a halfway decent state and just do everything you can to keep it that way.
Right. So we're going to brainstorm here.
Hits none. 4 left in deck, maybe 3 if there's a a standby. Yeah, there's a standby in his hand. So there's 3 standbys left in a decent amount of cards. But that's the thing here. In this deck state, Mochi what Mano, or 2. But still, you're okay with that, right? Unless you literally double trigger, which is within itself not super likely, you're kind of fine.
Yeah, I think the game is very comfortable from this state. Your opponent is level 3, and you're able to make whatever plays you think are reasonable.
Yeah, and even here now, we have a climax coming down, no ASCII combo resolve. Still thinking about it. They're really was thinking about even the overplay. We're really allowing some amount of backtracking here for this top cut, which, I mean, all good. No major game state changes happen. We're gonna keep the Muna and have the polka effect to resolve, get rid of a climax, and yeah, not for a deck that doesn't have a lot of milling, it has enough in this kind of state, like where it's just enough.
It's
right?
just enough, and it's all cost stock, so you do have to be mindful. But in this game, in this deck state, in this game state, we're feeling pretty relaxed. The only thing we have to do is keep the game relatively normal. And
and not for nothing, Mochi what Mano could have taken damage at many points in this game.
Yes.
It's not that he was guaranteed to get this damage block.
We're going to get another hand fix here off of the Muna.
But because he got the damage blocks here, it's all, we're chilling.
Right. Now, I do approve of this attack order. He sees a soul trigger and goes for the 2 instead of going for the 3.
Yeah, I think 2/2/2 is lethal here.
I think you just want to take the respectful chunks that you can get. And we do get 2/2/2, and we're going to get a standby, which is going to put another Luna to the board.
And Alexander 9104 is level 4.
He just takes 6 right in a row.
6 in a row.
And there's only 2 climaxes
remaining.
There are only
2 climaxes left.
Right. Yeah.
1 in hand and 3 in the waiting room.
We saw a ton of treasure triggers during the game, and part of that, unfortunately, can be losing more treasures.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, that's Mochi what Mano taking now the top 8 game here at the BCS Duluth Weiß Schwarz Regional. That was a rough one. That was a rough one to witness. That was a rough one to watch. It really is kind of manifesting the Bang Dream nightmare scenario there, where you mill 1, you mill 2, your soul drains away, your chances of blocking just dip low into the ground, and you just get that awful feeling in your stomach that you've made the only play that you could, and it's hurt you.
I think that in that scenario, that's the worst thing that can happen. But I think an important lesson is to be learned here in the early game. If there is no guarantee that what you mill will not be climaxes, so if you cannot mill the whole deck, you may be opening yourself up to taking more damage than you think. So it is worth being cautious about how you approach those combos, particularly in those game states, so that you can try and keep the game more manageable. But really,
I think it was a gamble that Alexander 9104 took, and he took willingly.
Right.
And not for nothing, because it was there was a good amount of time on that level 1 turn thinking, right, about what he was going to play, what he was going to salvage, what he was going to do. The unfortunate outcome was he decided to gamble on the full mill. He played the changers, instant mill 6. He swang, not checking first with the Yukina, and then immediately just check 4 on both 1 combos. Nearly not even a second thought. This was the line that he had decided And sometimes when you gamble, you lose.
Right. And the logic there is, yeah, I'm leaving some damage on the table, but also, yeah, I'm out of deck 1 with the clock compression. So there is something to be said about that. Getting 2 treasure triggers in the midst of that process is just some Weiß Schwarz stuff that happens in
Weiß
games.
Schwarz.
So
that's some Weiß Schwarz right there. And so that's going to be the top 8 game. That was Alexander 9104 versus Mochi Mano. And next up in this series, we're going to be looking at the semifinals game. And it's going to be in between Steve L. and Tokumo. It's going to be Azure Lane versus Avatar The Last Airbender. So go ahead, click on the next video if you'd like to check that out. But for now, that was the top 8 game at BCS Duluth, Georgia for the Weiß Schwarz Regional.